I cannot believe what I just watched in this game. This might have been the craziest game maybe I've ever watched. Like, what? Pistons win somehow, some way. Locked on Pistons, man. Coming up. Stay tuned. I don't know.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by the College Football Playoffs. The College Football Playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The College Football Playoff, presented by Allstate, begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and December 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. I'm recording this right after the Pistons win over the Miami Heat. This game, it took me 20 minutes to just catch my breath and be able to compose my thoughts to record after this game. This game was absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Do want to let you guys know real quick, though, head over to LockedOnDaily.com, type in your email, you'll get a Locked On Pistons Daily newsletter along with your daily podcast, and also text the number down below if you're watching this on YouTube to join the Locked On Pistons Insiders, 313-914-6528. The Pistons had this game in the bag. Absolutely in the bag. They dominated from the first quarter all the way through the fourth quarter. Then at the end of the game, Tyler Hero goes on another flurry after struggling the entire game. Goes on a flurry, hits multiple threes, including an absolutely insane three at the end of the game, or at the end of the fourth quarter to force overtime, which we'll get into all that later. They should have fouled, but I just need to get out how insane this game was. The Pistons found themselves down 7-6 in the overtime, and then THJ goes on an insane burner, hits 3 straight threes, gets the Pistons back into it, and then Cade hits a game-winning layup at the end of overtime. Pistons get a stop, game over. This game was absolutely insane. I cannot believe, the swings that happened at the end of this game after the Pistons dominated throughout the game. Pistons' biggest lead was 19. I believe they were up by 17 in the fourth quarter. And Tyler Hero went crazy. They weren't able to close it out in the fourth quarter and looked like it was over with in overtime. But THJ, Fleury brought them back in. Cade hits the game-winning layup, and they pull a win out. Should have won this game. I don't view this as stealing a win because the Pistons dominated for about 48 minutes of this game. They should have won. This game should have never even been close in the fourth quarter. Now, they fumbled it away at the end, but I feel like the better team won. The Pistons were the better team for literally 95% of this game. They have to get better at closing games out, but the right team won here. Some quick things now. At the end of the fourth quarter, the Pistons were up by 3 with about 9 seconds left. They decided not to foul. That is highly questionable at the very least. Tyler Hero obviously ends up going on to hit the game or game-tying 3 to send to overtime because the Pistons decided not to foul. That was certainly a decision by JB. I think almost everyone else probably would have fouled. I would like to hear what his explanation is after the game for that. But I think you absolutely have to foul in that situation. You absolutely have to. You cannot allow Tyler Hero to even get a shot off. You just can't. After what he's done, you can't do that. So that's first. Second, Cade Cunningham, man. Look, Cade is 23. He's 23 years old. He's not perfect. We are so close. We are so close from the superstar jump from him. We are so close. It probably won't happen this year. It probably won't. But in age 24, 25 seasons next year, 2 years from now, we are this close. We are a slight finishing improvement away from complete superstardom. 20 points, 18 assists. 18 assists. 11 rebounds, plus 9 in this game. Hitting people with Curry slides into pull-up threes. 36% on pull-up threes heading into this game. You are seeing legit two-way play from Cade. You are seeing him put on playmaking masterclasses over and over and over and over again. He's averaging 9.7 assists on the season. He's broken his career high in assists 3 times in the last 4 games. He's averaging 13, or what is it? Where is it? I believe it's 13 and a half assists over the last 4 games. Let me get the exact numbers right in front of me. I had it right here. I closed my phone on accident. Give me just a second. Let me just pull this up. If I could find it. Either way, my point remains. Cade is playing at another level. He's playing like an all-star. And is he a superstar yet? Absolutely not. But we are that close. You can see it. You can see where it's going to happen. Before, it was a question. I believe some people believed, some people didn't. But you are seeing the clear route to superstardom for Cade. He's there as a playmaker. The shooting is here. The pull-up three-point shooting that we begged and talked about coming out of college the last few years, it's here. It's absolutely here. The improvement defensively, it's here. All that is left for Cade, he has to improve his finishing around the basket. He was having an extremely efficient night all the way up until the end of the fourth quarter. All the way up until the end of the fourth quarter, and he missed 2 bunnies at the end of the fourth quarter that he absolutely has to have back, and he has to finish them. We are finishing improvement away from Cade being that guy. He's going to get there. He's been absolutely exceptional. He just had another triple-double. Only LeBron James and Nikola Jokic have more triple-doubles than him. He's been absolutely fantastic. This was the season you wanted to see from Cade. This is what you wanted to see from him. Again, he hasn't been perfect. He still can improve. But you see the pathway. You see it. He's been absolutely exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. I want to save Ausar for later because Ausar Thompson had by far his best game of the year. I'll have some bigger statements to say when we talk about him a little bit later. But Malik Beasley continues to just absolutely be maybe the best signing of the offseason. He's been absolutely fantastic. When you take into account how much he signed for and the value you're getting for that contract, I mean, he's been absolutely exceptional for the team. 28 points in this game, 9 of 18 from the field, but again, 13 three-point attempts. That's absolutely huge. The Pistons have desperately needed high-volume three-point shooting the last few years, and they're getting that out of Malik Beasley and to a lesser extent THJ. Malik Beasley's hitting threes at a high clip on a high volume. They've needed that. He's been absolutely fantastic. You're not asking Malik to be a playmaker. You're not asking him to drive to the rim. You're asking him to get threes up in a hurry. And he's such a great shooter and such a quick trigger that it's happening every single game. And he's absolutely been fantastic for the Pistons. Fantastic. This was I'm not going to let the end of this game cloud how great this team looked all the way up until then. Now, if they lost, that'd be different. But they ended up winning the game. They pulled it through and they won. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about how they fumbled at the end of the game and just be woe is me. They won the game and they looked, I cannot sugarcoat this at all to you guys. They looked the best they have all season, the first 3.5 quarters of this game. This was the best I've seen the Pistons look all year. And they've had good wins against the Knicks, against the Lakers. They've had good wins. But this game, it was the best they had looked all year for the 3.5 quarters. Cade was putting on an absolute masterclass of picking apart defenses. Ausar had his best game of the year. You saw the vision with him and Ron. Defensively, they were getting stops. They were getting out in transition, getting easy dunks, getting layups, cutting off ball, creating open shots. It was everything that you wanted to see from this team. You were seeing Cade at his absolute peak form at a heliocentric offense, picking a team apart with spacing around him and cutters at the right time. He was just in control of the whole game, all the way up until the last of the fourth quarter, and then Tyler Hero did his thing, and the Pistons missed a few bunnies. It happens, but they ended up winning the game. This was, look, again, they threw it away at the end. They tried to completely lose the game, but they didn't. And they put on film for practice the next few days for JB to pull film from that first 3.5 quarters and say, this right here is how we need to play and how we can play every single game, and we'll win games this way. That is the formula right there, how they played for the first 3.5 quarters of this game. It was absolutely fantastic basketball. End of the fourth, look, they almost threw it all away. They did. And it almost gave me a heart attack. I'm telling you this right now. When Jalen Duren switched on when Tyler Hero got the Jalen Duren switch at the end of overtime to win the game, I fell to my knees. And the crazy thing, I am joking a little bit, somewhat, not really, but Jalen Duren did have a really good rep on that switch. He forced a tough shot, forced him to shoot over him, and then Duren in overtime had 5 fouls, didn't foul out, played good defense in that overtime period, had a few good reps in Bam Adebayo as well. So give Duren some credit. I'm only half joking and having fun with that, but that was the switch Miami wanted, and look, Duren came through, and he played well in that overtime defensively, but this was a great game. Cade put on an absolute show. This was fantastic, and the Pistons are maybe, I think, a year and a half away from Cade taking that final breakthrough. He's taking steps each year. Last year he took a step. This year he's taking another big step. We're probably a year away from the big breakthrough when he just officially arrives as a legit top 20 player in the NBA. We're probably like a year and a half away from that, but you can see the pathway now, and he's him, man. He's him. So let me know in the comment section down below how you guys feel about this game, what you guys liked, what you guys didn't like from this game. Obviously, at the end of the game, would you guys have fouled at the end of the fourth quarter, or would you have just played defense and lived with the results? My goodness. Let me know again, comment section down below, or over on Twitter at KukaHill. When we come back, I want to discuss Ausar Thompson having his best game of the year and some conversations that need to come from that when we come back. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And as I've told you guys many of times, I started using FanDuel a few years ago, haven't turned back since, still using it today. Super fun to use, super easy to use, super self-explanatory, but most importantly, super fun to use. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet today with FanDuel. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. I want to get there by the end of the year, man. We got to get there. We're just under 1,000 subscribers away. A lot of you guys who listen every single day are not subscribed. Best way to support the podcast, man, please help us get to 10,000. If you're listening, if you're watching, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, man. We're on our way. Later on in the podcast, I'll clarify a lot of the salary cap moves the Pistons made over the last few days. I know it is pretty confusing, and it has a lot of Pistons fans wondering like what was even happening the last few days. I'll explain it for you guys in the final segment and take you guys through why they did what they did. But let's talk about Ausar, man. He had his best game of the year, 19 points, 8 of 14 from the floor, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic game from Ausar Thompson. And this was with him blowing multiple bunnies at the rim. Multiple bunnies. He finished 8 of 14, but he should have had, 25 points in this game? He blew at least 3 or 4 bunnies at the rim that he wants to have back. And then he almost had the best dunk of the year. Throwing, what's his name, Drew Smith? I've never heard of him before this game for the Heat. Yeah, Drew Smith almost put him into the underworld earlier in this game with a crazy dunk from beyond the dotted line, took off on 2, and just damn near sent him to hell. It was crazy. But Ausar had a fantastic game, and I think, actually, let me dissect how he had a good game, why he had a good game, and then I'll get into what I'm saying bigger picture-wise. Ausar, you saw in this game, you saw him as a great cutter, getting to the basket. You saw him hit a 3, which was big time. His willingness to take those 3-point attempts, and his shot looks vastly improved. It looks way better. You saw him use them use him as a playmaker in the half court. You saw JB do what I've been begging the team to do since last year at the beginning of his career, to run him in some half court ball screens to get his defender involved in the action, which created a lot of open looks, not just for himself, but others. Because him rolling to the rim is a scary sight, especially when he gets the ball in his hands. Guys have to tag down, so now you're either giving him a dunk or he's kicking out to a corner 3. They were creating a lot of good offense out of that. In transition, he was an absolute demon. An absolute demon. he was destroying the Heat in transition. And like we talked about in the last episode with Matt, the Pistons actually are faster and play better in transition with Cade on the floor. And after these stops, Cade was getting out in transition and finding Ausar Thompson, finding Ron Holland for easy buckets, easy reverse layups, dunks, alley-oops. It was a fantastic game. And that's not even to talk about his defense, where they had him at the point of attack, which I've been begging, and they finally have. They put him on Tyler Hero. They put him on Jimmy Butler. And by the way, until the final seconds with Tyler Hero, he was shooting 2 of 10 from deep. He finished the game 9 of 25. Had something to do with Ausar Thompson checking him. I told you guys that crazy 40-point game stuff wouldn't happen with Ausar guarding him. Now, at the end of the fourth quarter, they didn't even have Ausar on him. Don't know why. They had Simone Fontecchio on him, which was pretty confusing. But you saw Ausar excel on defense at the point of attack, and then you also saw him making if you watch this game, I'll probably do a breakdown on my personal YouTube channel at Kuka Hill in the next few days if I get enough time. The rim protection from Ausar was maybe the best rim protection of the year of anybody on the Pistons. The weak side rim protection plays that he was making, the reps that he had, were absolutely astounding. Absolutely fantastic. Crazy. Absolutely shut down Jimmy Butler numerous times at the rim. Shut down Bam Adebayo a few times at the rim. Like, him as a weak side rim protector, you saw it at OTE. You saw it in his rookie year. You saw it even more tonight. He was all over the place defensively. Diving for loose balls, creating turnovers. I mean, he was quite literally everywhere. His fingerprints were all over this game. And he was finally able to play longer than 2-minute stretches. He finally was able to play longer than 14 minutes. And you saw him impact this game. He looked just as athletic as he did last year. He looked like he had his stamina at least a little bit. He was getting gassed at times, but it looks a lot better. You saw him playing with the edge that he usually has. You see him rounding in the full form, and he looked absolutely fantastic for the Pistons tonight. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Now, let's go to bigger picture. Let's go bigger picture. Ausar Thompson has to start moving forward. Absolutely has to start. Don't know if you guys heard my voice crack a little bit right there. I don't know what happened there. But Ausar Thompson has to start moving forward. I don't care who you sit. I don't care who you have to move. I don't care what you got to do. There's no world that you cannot start Ausar Thompson. You just can't. In this game, they didn't have Tobias Harris. They did not have Jaden Ivey. And they lost Isaiah Stewart in the middle of this game with a... I don't even want to talk about that injury. It did not look good. Now, they say he hyperextended his knee. But all I'm going to say is I'm sending prayers up for Stu, and I hope it's not serious. I hope it's the best case scenario, but that I do not want to see that video again. It did not look good at all. Hoping the best for Stu, and hopefully we get good update from him, but I don't even want to look at the video or even discuss it. That's how bad the video looked. I just wishing the best and praying for Stu. But they lost Stu in the middle of this game. They didn't have Jaden Ivey, and they didn't have Tobias Harris in this game either. And that starting lineup looked best than it has all year. I retweeted something from this account on Twitter, NBA University. And it was the top 5 most used lineups in the NBA. The top 5 most possessions with the lineup. The Pistons starting lineup was, I believe, 4th in total possessions. Out of all the 5 lineups, the Pistons were the only starting lineup in that top 5 with the most possessions played. They were the only lineup, 5-man lineup, with a negative net rating. With that many possessions. And they were at a minus 4.3. The starting lineup has to change. They cannot continue to run that same starting lineup. And in this game, you saw, look, and maybe this is something that JB has to figure out. But you saw the peak of the Cade heliocentric offense in this game. You have high volume 3-point shooters in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. You have his role threat. You have Ausar Thompson that can do some of the off-ball playmaking, that can do some of the on-ball playmaking, that can be used as a cutter, as long as he can hit a corner 3 every now and then. He also can cut into space, like I just mentioned, on these pick and rolls, and he had one really good cut on a Cade drive along the left baseline. That was absolutely fantastic. But you had exactly the type of personnel for that offense and that type of play, and it was looking beautiful. He had 18 assists to 4 turnovers. It was fantastic. He was picking the Heat apart. And then at the defensive end, you have Cade and Ausar. You finally have that defender at the point of attack, which has been the weakest spot of the Pistons defense, has been their point of attack defense. Duren has not been good defensively at all, but his life has not been made easier at all because they don't have anyone that can stop at the point of attack. Ausar completely changed that tonight. having Ausar on the floor, and then that allows Cade to then check Jimmy Butler, and then you can hide THJ and Malik Beasley on Highsmith, on a Duncan Robinson, on non-ball handlers. And now all of a sudden, you're forcing turnovers. Now all of a sudden, you're getting out in transition. Now all of a sudden, you're getting stops. Like, this lineup was like, if you just like said, without naming names, if you were just like, what's the best lineup you can think of around Cade? It's spacer, high volume 3-point shooting, get him a lob threat, and have someone that can guard on the defensive end the best player. Like, that is the best, that's one of the best lineups that you can think of. Now, if Ausar could shoot threes at 40% volume, then that would be the most perfect lineup. But Ausar makes up for it in ways he's able to cut to the rim, especially, again, I want absolutely congratulate or give a pat on the back to JB for using Ausar in ball screens. Now, in the fourth quarter, they didn't use him as much. I think that was a major reason why the Pistons started to struggle scoring the ball, because he started doubling off Ausar in the corner. Now, if you get Ausar involved in ball screens, you get him involved in action, you can't just flat out double team off him. Now you got him flowing to the basket. If you double, now he's flowing to the basket with the ball in his hands. They should have been doing that more. But at the end of the fourth quarter, they went away from it a bit and allowed Ausar to just get doubled off of him, which was creating turnovers and really pressing Cade, making it hard to score. But nonetheless, this lineup was fantastic, and it's the type of lineup you want to see around Cade. So the Pistons have to make a decision moving forward. That's all I'm going to say. They got to do something, because that other starting lineup wasn't working great. They had terrible point of attack defense, and it wasn't making up for the offensive end of the floor. We talked about that nonstop in the podcast. The defense has been terrible, and the quote-unquote offense that's supposed to come out of it has not been good enough. You're not getting playmaking out of that other lineup. You're not getting enough ball handling out of that other lineup, even though theoretically you should. You're not getting defense definitely out of that lineup. You're horrible at the point of attack defensively, and the numbers resemble that you're one of the worst five-man lineups in the NBA. So that lineup cannot continue to happen. It can't happen. Ausar has to start moving forward as long as he's able to continue to play 26-plus minutes. I'm assuming it's going to continue to go higher and higher. As long as he can continue to play those minutes, he has to start. So pick whoever you want to bench. Pick whoever you want to come off the bench. Heck, if you want to make a trade and trade some guys, go ahead. All I know is Ausar has to start with Cade. He has to. He absolutely has to. I mean, tonight was the picture-perfect example of why. And I'm going to go ahead and say this too. Malik Beasley should probably start as well. They need his high-volume three-point shooting. They need his gravity. They need his scoring. Malik probably needs to start too. So take that and make a lamp around it. That's why I'd say to you guys. Take Cade, Malik Beasley, and Ausar Thompson and craft a starting lamp around it. Because that's what you need to be playing out there. That's the lamp that needs to be played. And maybe in a future episode in the next few days, we'll make an even bigger picture talk that needs to happen soon. But that's all I know as of right now. The offense and the way this game was played by the Pistons through 3.5 quarters was the best I've seen them play all year. And it's because they finally had Ausar able to play longer stretches, and he was at the point of attack tremendous. Like, it was just, everything changed because of the lineup they could play. They cannot go back to that other starting lineup. They just can't. It hasn't been good all year. They have to go away from it. So let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kook. How do you guys feel about Ausar's best game? And do you think he has to start no matter what moving forward? And what starting lineup would you think, or not think, what starting lineup would you suggest JB to use moving forward? Let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kook. When we come back, I just want to briefly let you guys know what was the point of all the moves the Pistons made, Trajan Langdon made over the last 48, 72 hours, why he did it, and what it can do for the Pistons moving forward. We'll talk about that when we come back. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product-specific disclosures. Visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Now I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I'm still using it to this day. It saves me. Not only does it show me some subscriptions that maybe I didn't even know about that I can cancel, it also lets me know how much am I spending versus how much I'm actually making that month. Am I spending more than I'm actually making? Do I need to calm it down with maybe some of the Madden purchases I'm making with my account? It lets me know all that, and it helps me be a much more responsible adult with my finances. Again, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together all in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Now, I know some of you guys, actually real quickly, make sure you guys are texting the number down below if you guys want to be a part of the Locked On Pistons Insiders program. A few of you guys have already joined. I've been talking with you guys. I've been your guys' personal insider, sending you any Piston news so you guys don't have to be on social media. You guys get all of it straight to your phone, and a lot of people have been just talking with me about random stuff. So if you want to be a part of that Insiders program and have the ability to just talk with me one-on-one and have me send you any Piston update possible, so you don't have to be constantly looking at social media, go ahead and text that number down below, 313-914-6528. And also head over to LockedOnDaily.com, type in your email, and you'll get a Locked On Pistons daily newsletter along with your Locked On Pistons daily podcast. All right. So I know some of you guys probably watched this game tonight and saw Paul Reed enter the game and was thinking, I thought the Pistons just released Paul Reed. And I thought they signed one of their G League guys. What happened? Well, they did waive Paul Reed, and they did sign one of their G League guys. They then also waived that G League guy 24 hours later and then re-signed Paul Reed. So you may be wondering, okay, what was the point of all that? Why even do all that? Well, Keith Smith NBA has a great explanation of all this step by step, and I'll summarize it for you guys at the very end of it if you guys get confused during a long of it. But let's go ahead and read his tweet. He says, I'll attempt to explain the Detroit Pistons situation for all of you. 1. The Pistons didn't want Paul Reed, my goodness, at $7.7 million because the per-day charge was $44,000, was eating into their potential cap space rapidly. So they waived Paul Reed to get off the bigger salary, which created $2.5 million in dead money, which took them below the salary floor. Detroit then signed Javante McCoy to get back to the salary floor. It took McCoy would then get $32,500 for the next 4 days. They then waived him. He still gets that money. They've re-signed Reed on a minimum deal, which got them back up to the salary floor. So now he's only costing $1.4 million. And now the Pistons, instead of paying him $7.7 million, they are now paying him, when you look at his contract versus the dead money hit that they got for releasing him, $3.9 million. So, in short, if you don't understand, if you got confused during all of that and don't really understand what I'm saying, basically, the Pistons released Paul Reed, signed somebody to get back to the salary cap floor to a non-guaranteed deal, released him, re-signed Paul Reed to a vet minimum contract, and have created $4 million of cap space by doing it. That basically is all you need to know about it. It was some really smart salary cap, hula hoop jumping, whatever you want to call it. It was very unique and smart. It's some smart maneuvering, I guess is the best word, for what Trajan Langdon, his salary cap team did here. Basically, they found a way to just create $4 extra million of cap space heading into the trade deadline and kept Paul Reed still. So I know some people were upset that they didn't go out and make some big crazy move with the cap space they had created and there wasn't some big move for 2 players or whatever. Like, I get you wanted maybe more exciting, but this wasn't actually a really good move by the Pistons front office. A very savvy move and a very good way of utilizing the new CBA and working around it. This was a really good move. It was only $4 million. It's not like it's going to win them games or anything. It's not like they're going to win them like 10 games because they made this move. But it was very savvy, and it's the kind of move that smart teams make. So I actually really loved seeing this. It makes me feel a lot better than I already did about Trajan Langdon and this front office, that they're taking these type of wins or trying to get these type of wins on the margins. Because the last front office, remember, one of my main criticisms was they didn't try to win on the margins. They oftentimes just said, screw the margins as long as we get what we need. And that often, or not often, it did eventually catch up to them. So I like this. This was a really good way of creating some cap space. So now the Pistons have $14 million in cap space along with the MLE heading in to the trade deadline. So they have some space. They're the only team in the NBA with cap space, and they still have, and it's quite a bit of cap space. So I expect the Pistons to be active at the trade deadline. I don't think it's going to be for some big move. That's not what I've heard over the last month and a half. I haven't heard that they're interested in making some big swing, even though, again, anything could happen. If an opportunity presents itself, they could do it. More so what I've heard over the last month and a half is they're going to try to utilize that cap space to get future assets and maybe absorb a guy that they really like that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do beforehand. So I don't think they're going to make any crazy move. They could, but it seems like from what I've understood and from the moves that they're making is that they're more so trying to set themselves up to take on a contract for some salary or for some assets in the future. So we'll see what they end up doing. But again, a very savvy move from Trajan Langdon. This is actually a really smart move from the front office. I really liked it. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you expect the Pistons to do around the trade deadline? Again, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Go Pistons. Kudos player of the game, Cade Cunningham. Until next time, peace out, everybody.